This is a story called The Little Monsters at Christmas. Chapter 38. The kids make their own Christmas toys and give them to the kids who are less fortunate than themselves. It's almost Christmas and the kids are all out playing when Kicker says, "I know, why don't we make our own Christmas toys and hand them out to those who are less fortunate than us like we did last year?" Everyone agreed that this was a brilliant idea, and Stumpy said, "Last year we made the toys in my dad's shed and we used his tools. I'm sure he'll let us do that again if we ask him." "Do you think so, Stumpy?" asked Bumpy. "Yeah, I do. Come on, let's go to my house and ask him." When they got to Stumpy's house, they went over to his dad and Stumpy said, "Dad, remember last year when we made our own toys using your tools and spare wood for the kids who are less fortunate than us? Well, we want to do the same thing again this year and we were wondering if we could use your tools and spare wood again, please." "Well, as it happens, son, I have two very special things to give you. Come with me and I'll show you. Look, I've built I've built you your very own wood shed and I've given you your very own tools. These tools first belonged to my great-granddad, and he gave them to his son who was my granddad. Then my granddad gave them to my dad and he gave them to me, and now I'm giving them to you, son. I know that you look after them the same way they've always been looked after. Maybe one day you'll have a child who likes wood carving and you can pass them down to them," said Stumpy's dad. "But what will you use, Dad?" asked Stumpy. "I have my own brand new tools, son, which will also be yours one day." "Thank you, Dad. Thank you so much, Dad. I'll look after them, I promise I will," said Stumpy. "I know you will, son," said Stumpy's dad. Then Stumpy's mum called them all in for some lunch. "Yeah, it's lunchtime. Come on, let's go and eat. I'm starving," said Stumpy. Everyone looked at each other and then at Stumpy and said, "You're always starving, Stumpy." Then everyone laughed, including Stumpy's parents. After lunch they got to work making their toys. "I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to make Santa on his sleigh with reindeers and a sack full of presents. I'm going to make a few of them so that if I give one to one kid and another kid wants one, I'll have enough to go around. I'm going to do this with all the toys I make," said Kicker. "I think that's a brilliant idea, Kicker. Why don't we all do that?" said Bumpy. Everyone agreed and then Kicker said, Guys, why are you copying me?" "Why, what's the problem, Kicker?" asked Bumpy, laughing. "It was my idea and you guys are stealing it," laughed Kicker. They all looked at each other and then at Kicker and together they said to her, "Oh, whatever, Kicker." Then they all laughed and carried on making their toys. A couple of hours later, Stumpy's mum came out and said, "Tea's ready, guys." "Oh, good, I'm starving, Mum," said Stumpy. "There's nothing new there then, Stumpy," said Stumpy's mum. Then everyone said, "You're always hungry, Stumpy." Then they all laughed and went for the tea. After tea they went back to Stumpy's shed and worked on their toys until about 8 p.m. and then they went into Stumpy's house. His dad took everyone home, but the next day they all went back to Stumpy's house to continue making their toys. By lunchtime they'd all made 3 of their toys and painted them. They asked Stumpy's mum if they could have their lunch in Stumpy's new wood shed and she said yeah. They all ate their lunch and then they carried on making their toys. They'd decided that they were going to make all of their toys first and then paint them when they'd finished. That day by tea time they'd all made six toys each. However, they were all due at Kicker's house at 5 p.m. for their tea and a sleepover. Kika rang her mum and asked her if they could take the toys they'd made to their house and paint them in the kitchen, and she said yeah. That night after tea they got to work painting their toys and then they left them to dry. They spent the rest of the night playing video games on Kika's Xbox and then they went to bed. The next day after breakfast they played on Kika's Xbox again for a bit and then they made their way to Stumpy's house again. They made a few more of the toys they'd already made and then they painted them and started on some more. At lunchtime they all went to Stumpy's house and ate there. After lunch they went back to Stumpy's. At lunchtime they all went to Stampy's house and ate there. After lunch they went back to Stumpy's house to continue making their toys. After about 2 hours, Stumpy's mum brought out some snacks for them. They ate them whilst they were working on their toys. That night they were all staying at Stumpy's, so they stayed out until about 9 p.m, working hard on their toys. They eventually went inside, put their PJs on and watched a DVD for a couple of hours. The next day they got up, had their breakfast, went straight to Stumpy's shed, and then they got to work making some more toys. They spent the next few days making more and more toys and painting them. Once they'd finished and the paint was dry, they put their toys in boxes and covered them in bubble wrap, ready to be delivered. The next day they went round delivering them to kids living in poverty, the children's hospital and a couple of children's homes. When they'd finished, they had quite a few left, so they went into town and handed them out to the homeless kids. End of chapter 38. Hope you like it, guys. Thanks for watching. Love yous. Bye.